Welcome to the Gryphon Nation Football Show and another exciting year of Gryphon football. I'm head football coach Daryl Patton and host for this year. We're excited to be back and bring you a lot of highlights and player of the weeks each week. The way the show will be set up is just like a football game. In the first quarter, we're going to talk about that previous week's game, highlights, player of the weeks, and really make sure you understand Gryphon football and what happened. The second quarter, it'll be a special session. We'll bring in a guest. It could be an administrator, coach, players, but we'll do that in the second quarter. During the third quarter, Mr. Robinson and I will go around and highlight some of our most valuable teachers. We call them the MVTs that we select for each of our home games. In the third quarter, we'll bring our coordinators back on, and we will talk about the upcoming game with Rogers Heritage and go through some of the strengths and weaknesses of them. And then in the fourth quarter, we look at the ever-tough 7A Central Conference and how some of the results played out the week before, and then the upcoming games coming down the road. So it's going to be a great show this year. We're excited to have you. And right now I want to introduce our two co-hosts or our guests this week. To the left, I have our assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, Ray Sessions. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you.
And then to the right, I've got Conway Wampus Kitten native, Trevor Maltbia. Trevor, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Good. Well, let's just jump in and get started. Coach Sessions, last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, we played the Rogers Mounties. Mm-hmm. Rogers is a top 10 team in the state. They're really better than I thought they were. I mean, they're really good. But talk to us a little bit about what we did defensively against the Rogers.
Okay, well, we struggled early on. They came out with an up-tempo style. We had prepared for it, but you never really are prepared for that until you go through it. We had one interception on the third possession, which was good. That gave us a little momentum. And, we did a lot of good things, but at the end, it was just their size, was kind of too much to overcome for our defensive backs. But overall, I thought we played well enough to win at times, and it was just some of those pivotal mistakes, cost us.
Right.
We couldn't overcome them.
What, in football, defense especially, you got three levels.
Yep.
You got the defensive line, you got your linebackers, and then you got your secondary. Was there one of those areas that kind of maybe stood out a little more than the other, or all about the same?
Well, I think our defensive line really competed up front. I don't think that Rogers pushed us around as much as the score might have indicated.
Right.
They didn't run the ball extremely well against us. We were able to stop the run. We just had some breakdowns in the secondary in the pass coverage a few times. But it's first game, and I really look for us to improve in that area. But overall, the strength of our defense is our secondary.
Right.
It's where we've got the most experience coming back. It's where we've got the most speed, the most ability at this point. So, if those guys really come together and gel and play together as a unit, I think we'll be pretty good in the secondary.
There had to be a couple players that stood out, player of the weeks on the defensive side of the ball. Who was our outstanding defensive lineman?
Outstanding defensive lineman was Jay Sean Edgiston.
Okay, junior.
And he had 5 tackles, and really he was the one up front that they had the most trouble with. What
about the second level, the linebacker level?
Marquise Rand graded out the highest among all the linebackers, and he's got a high motor, lots of energy. He's always where he's supposed to be. So,
And in the secondary, MVP?
Braylon Stovall was our top secondary player.
Okay.
And he had 5 tackles. He led our team in tackles. He had 5 solo tackles. And then behind him was Kevon Jones. Kevon had the interception. And Marquise Roberts had 4 tackles. So again, 3 secondary players were in the top 4 in tackles.
Awesome.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, Women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
You know, there's 3 phases to every game. Special team phase. First game, as a head coach, you always worry about special team in the first game. Always. Did I overcoach it, not coach it enough? And we had some miscues in the special team phase, and I take total blame for that. We had a field extra point block. We had a bad snap on a punt. We fumbled a kickoff. So we did enough there to give them 21 points pretty much. So we've got to improve this week in the special team phase. Trevor, let's talk a little bit about offense in the last few minutes of this segment. You know, what were some of the positives from the game offensively?
So some of the positives is that we were able to run the ball against Rogers' defense. Okay, so they gave us the look of 3-4-5-3 defense. You know, Jabron Lewis, he had a touchdown on that. I think about a 75-yard touchdown. Luther Tucker had another 45-yard touchdown. Makai Muhammad had another solid run on that one. I thought that the O-line did a good job. There's a lot of areas that we need to improve in. And we're cleaning that up this past bye week and going into the Rogers Heritage game. And so overall, I think if we don't turn the ball over, I think we'll be just fine.
So what would you say our biggest negative was from the first game?
Just mental errors and turning the ball over,
Yeah.
fumbles. You know, if we can clean that up, I believe we did in the bye week, and I believe we'll be successful this week.
Good. Well, we're excited. So let's talk about player of the week. So before I move on, who is our outstanding offensive lineman?
Offensive lineman, Dalen Harris.
Dalen Harris.
Dalen Harris has the offensive lineman, outstanding offensive lineman.
Running back level, or back level, quarterback or running backs?
I believe it was Luther Tucker. Okay, Luther Tucker had a nice run, had a nice game. Not a lot of mental errors for him.
Proud of Luther. Luther in our scrimmage, he had 3 fumbles.
Right.
And he came back this next week and was very clean with ball security and did a good job. And then at the receiver level,
I believe it was A.J. Miller.
A.J. Miller.
A.J. Miller. He did a good job at the receiver level. We didn't really throw the ball much, but he caught the ball, and when we asked him to, and he did his job.
Awesome. You know, and each week we give out a Anthony Smith State Farm Mr. Gryphon Award, and that's to the top person that kind of epitomizes what we want our Gryphons to be, classroom, in the community, and on the football field. And this past week, the winner was Dalen Harris. So congratulations, Dalen. Welcome to the halftime show. During the halftime show, what we do is we try to honor 2 MVTs each week. And that's most valuable teachers selected by the coaches and players. But it doesn't always have to be teachers. It can be administrators or even other coaches or other staff. But this week we've got 2 great ones, and I'm so excited on behalf of Wood Grill Buffet in Benton to recognize Miss Chris Almond. She's our assistant principal, kind of our top assistant principal, I guess, associate or whatever. I'm not sure what the title would be.
Academy principal.
Academy principal,
Yes.
but we are so excited to have her here. I've gotten to know her over the last 3 years, and she is a kid-first person. She's going to take care of our kids, and on behalf of the football team, we wanted to give you this certificate, and we will have some wood grill buffet certificates to give you this afternoon as well. But congratulations.
Thank you so much, Coach. I love it, and as Mr. Holder say, let's go Griffins. Thank you.
During the halftime show, we recognized 2 MVT's most valuable teachers or administrators that our team and coaches have selected. You saw the first one in Miss Almond. It only gets bigger and better. The second one is Academy Principal, Mr. Hiram Sunland. Congratulations.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine, and I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and Mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero.
Good job, Kitty Cat.
When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
Welcome back, Gryphon fans. Hey, special congratulations to our MVTs. We got 2 good ones this week, and so very proud of them. We'll be sponsored by Wood Grill Buffet in Benton, and so both of those 2 MVTs will be able to go out there and have a meal complimentary of Wood Grill. In the third quarter, let's talk about our next opponent, the Rogers Heritage War Eagles. As a staff, we had the opportunity this past Friday night to go up and watch them play, and I was impressed, and they're a lot better than they have been. They're 2-0 this year, and this is a program that's been down for about 10 years, averaged probably about 1 win a season over that time period. They got a new coach, and Eric Munoz, and they're playing with confidence. So let's talk a little bit to Coach Sessions about the Rogers War Eagles, or Heritage War Eagles offense.
Yeah, well, first week they played Siloam Springs. They put up 16 points, and week 2 they put up 20, so that's 36 points, 2 ball games, so averaging 18 points a game. Like you said, they're playing with a lot of confidence. They have some really good players, and I'm glad we got to go scout them, because that always shows up. You can't tell speed on film. Kid can look fast, but maybe not necessarily be fast when in relation to everybody else. But their go-to players, wide receiver number 9.
He's a good ball player.
He is a good ball player, really good ball player, and a lot faster live than what you can tell on film.
Right.
So, we're going to have to make sure we're in phase with him all the time. Another one is their other wide receiver, number 1, who, when doing some research, found out he's a conference triple jump and long jump champion. So great athlete there. Again, a track guy, so he's got more speed. But really, he didn't look as fast as the other guy.
Right.
It's just a difference in straight line speed and game speed. But we're gonna have our hands full with those 2 receivers, and then they bring in another guy, number 21, put him in the slot, and when they need a third down conversion, that's who they're going to go to. And of course, their running back is shifty, has great vision, likes to bounce the ball outside. If he sees a lane, he's going to take it. He's also the type that if he can put his head down and get 4 or 5 yards, he's going to do that as well. So, really the strength of their offense is in their skill players. The quarterback's not very bad. He can sling it a little bit. Where we may have an advantage is our defensive line against their offensive line.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to try to exploit, is try to get those offensive linemen moving a little more. They're big, 6'3", 6'4", 340 pounds across the board. So, I think we've got the edge in athleticism up front.
For the viewer that may not understand, What kind of offense do they run? Are they a wishbone? Are they spread? Kind of explain that to them.
They are, well, they want to be spread, but I don't think they're really committed to the talent, or committed to it yet. I don't think they have the ability to walk out there and put 4 wide receivers.
Right.
So, we're going to get a lot of 10 personnel, which is, 1 back, no tight ends. We're going to get some 20 personnel, which is 2 backs, counting really one of those backs as a tight end / H-back, off the line. And that's what we're going to get. They'll play with a tight end some.
He's big.
He is. He's 6'5", 235 pounds.
Yeah.
And but he also starts on defense, so they don't use him a ton on offense. But they want to run the football. They're about 68% run right now. And I mean, I say that you can tell it's really more of a they have to run the football.
Right.
They want to throw the ball.
Yeah.
But right now they're taking what they can do, and it's a sign of a good coaching staff too.
Yeah. Well, and I had a chance to talk to Coach Munoz last night for quite a bit, and I really like him. He's a Gus Malzahn guy, played at Springdale, and he just does a great job he's instilled confidence in them. And what I see with Heritage, different from this year from past, they're winning close ball games.
Yeah.
They're doing the little things to win a ball game versus finding ways to lose. So let's come back and talk to Coach Maltbia a little bit about the War Eagle defense.
So, like you said earlier, they're 2-0. They're improving. The War Eagle defense, they run a 3-4 defense. Like Coach Sessions said earlier, number 9, he's a great ball player. He goes both ways, but he starts on the D line. So our offensive line needs to be ready for that guy. In the back end, you have number 9, you have number 6, and number 4. Those guys, they can also go as well. So, if we're going to throw the ball, then we need to be efficient in what we do. Number 34, number 11, the linebackers. Those guys they roam. They
inside or outside?
So number 34 is outside.
Gotcha.
And number 11, number 3, they're more so inside the box there. And so.
And 26 is a good ball player.
He's a great ball player. Yes, he is. And so we just need to do our job up front. And we do our job up front, and the backs hold on to the football. I think we'll be successful this week.
One thing about Rogers, they're a 3-4 defense, or Rogers Heritage. I keep saying Rogers Heritage. What that means, fans, that's 3 down linemen, 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers. And as far as the 4 linebackers, that's 2 inside and 2 outside. But they, we can see in this offense that we run, the dead T, like I've told Coach Maltby, he's a young offense coordinator, you never will get what you think you're going to get. I mean, we're going to get, it could be a 5-3, it could be anything in the world. So we worry about what we do on offense. We practice against a lot of different looks, and we hopefully those rules will come into play, on Friday night where whatever we see we can handle. Special team-wise, number 29 is your kicker. He's got a strong leg. A little erratic at times. Like the first game, everything was in the end zone. This past week, kicking off, I think he averaged the 5-yard line. They did attempt a 50-yard field goal against Siloam. So he's got the leg. And so punting game, number 9's your punter. That's dangerous because he's such an athlete. If you don't block it, he could run it and fake it and be a big play. On returns, number 9 is also the return guy. And what won the game against Siloam Springs was he had about a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown. So, and they had 7 guys he had to beat. So he's a ball player and he can do it. All right, we'll come back in the fourth quarter. We're going to talk about our opponents and how they've done so far, and then we'll talk about kind of the top 10 in the state. Hey, we'll come back in just a second. Go Griffins.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
We discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back, Griffins. This quarter, we talk about our opponents on our schedule and how they've done. So let's talk about Rogers. We played them, again 2 weeks ago. Tell us about Rogers and what they've done since.
Okay, well, after they played us, they went to Tulsa and played Tulsa Bishop Kelly this past weekend and beat them 49-21, which is an eye-opening win for them. I mean, it really, to me, in my eyes, says that they're a lot better than what we even gave them credit for. This upcoming week, they play the Farmington Cardinals, and
how are they going to do, Coach? How are they going to do against Farmington?
Well, I'm a little partial to because I've worked with J.R. Eldridge, head coach at Farmington, and so I'm gonna give Farmington a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
You're going upset here?
I'm going upset. I think.
Wow.
I think Rogers being 2-0. I think they're going to overlook the 5A school.
I got you.
And I'm going to look for Farmington to pull out the upset 28-24.
We're going to have to send this clip to Coach Eldridge. He'll be happy. You're still invited to Christmas. All right, we'll go to the next opponent. Our next opponent is, of course, Heritage, who we play. They're 2-0. But let's talk about our next week opponent, Hot Springs.
So Hot Springs, Coach Daryl Burnett, man, he's been in the program for the last 5 years.
And he's a McClellan grad, too.
He's a McClellan grad. That's right. And so the first week they played Bologna Eagles. They ended up beating them pretty good. After that, the last week they played Arkadelphia, a really close game. I think it was decided by 1 point. And so
at the buzzer, too.
At the buzzer, that's right. Yeah. So right now they're 1-1. They're going into this week. They have a bye week, and then after that they play us. So we need to be ready.
That's not good. I don't like teams having 2 weeks to prepare
I don't like that.
Get guys healthy.
I don't like that.
Well, after playing Hot Springs next week, then we go into conference. And so, boy, I tell you, this is such a weak conference that we're in. Let's talk about the soft Conway Wampus kids. Coach Femple, I'm just kidding. You know that.
Well, Coach Femple has gone in there and really changed the culture of Conway, toughened them up a little bit. Yeah. They play a lot more physical style than what they did under Clint Ashcraft. And, they beat Bentonville this past week. Bentonville is always in the top 3 or 4 in the state. Conway came from behind, beat them late. And, this week they play Springdale. This game's over after the first quarter. This one's going to be 56-7 if the JV allows Springdale to score late in the game.
I got you. All right, let's go to Cabot. The Scott Reed-led Cabot Panthers. Tell us how they've done so far.
So right now, Coach Reed, him and his program, they're 2-0 right now. They beat Fayetteville. It's actually surprised everyone around the state. We thought that Fayetteville, coming from the state championship game, would end up winning that game. So Cabot, they're 1-0, and then they ended up playing Bentonville West last week, which they ended up, beating Bentonville West pretty good. And so this upcoming week they play Ruston, Louisiana.
I think actually they're a bye this week.
And then they play Ruston, Louisiana. So they got their hands full coming up. So,
well, that's 2 big wins, beating Fayetteville and Bentonville West. That's huge. Let's talk about we hired Ray from North Little Rock, and so no bulletin board material here. But Ray's a coach there at North Little Rock last year. Let's talk about North Little Rock this year.
Well, the Charging Wild Kittens are struggling right now. They're 0-2. They dropped one to Catholic High School for boys, and then they lost to Fayetteville this past weekend. And so they're still trying to find a win somewhere at North Little Rock. And let me tell you, they're not going to get it against the Parkview Patriots.
Yeah.
Brad Bolding's going to go in there with guns blazing and give them everything they've got. So. They beat Harbor week 1, put up 56 points on Harbor. And, I don't think North Little Rock's offense can do enough against Parkview's defense in order to be competitive in that game. I think North Little Rock's going to fall to 0-3 before they open conference play against Central. And, they'll probably pull that one out. So,
well, one thing about North Little Rock and Parkview, Coach Bowden coached at North Little Rock. So that's going to be
personal.
That'll be an interesting game for sure.
It's personal.
Let's talk about the number one team in the state, the Bryan Hornets.
The Bryan Hornets, man.
And what happened to them last week?
Last week, they were in Louisiana, I believe, in the Shreveport game, and ended up getting thunder and lightning rain delay or rain. They didn't even play.
Good.
And so week one, they ended up playing Benton Panthers in the Salt Bowl. They ended up blowing out Benton Panthers eventually.
That's a huge game.
It's a huge game, Coach.
30,000 people. I mean, big.
That's a lot. And so upcoming week, they play Parkview. Okay, Parkview, they have a lot on their hands, a lot of good athletes. And so I'm excited to see what that game holds.
You got number one 7A versus, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I guess I yelled too much at Coach Maltby yesterday in practice, but you've got the number one 7A Bryan Hornets versus number one 5A Parkview Patriots. So that's good. Give us some love out to Parkview today. Let's talk about the new team in the conference, the Jonesboro Hurricanes.
Yeah, the Hurricane, coached by Randy Coleman. Randy and I went to college together. They lost to West Memphis the first week, and then lost to Lake Hamilton in week 2. So Jonesboro's struggling a little bit, although I know Lake Hamilton, Gillerin does a good job down there, and they're usually really, really tough to beat. And West Memphis, when I talked to Coach Hooks back in the early part of the summer, he thought they were going to be much improved. He thought they were going to be very good, and of course they always have athletes at West Memphis. But so Jonesboro starting off 0-2. They play Center Hill out of Mississippi. I don't know anything about them. I would say that if Randy scheduled them, he's probably got a chance to beat them. So I'm going to go with Jonesboro in this one.
That's the old rule. If you're going to schedule out of state, you do your homework first. So I think you're probably right. The next team on our schedule, which would be a Week 9 game for us, is in this year that would be our senior night. Is you got the Little Rock Central Tigers. How's it going over at Quigley?
Right now they're 0-2. Right now they're struggling. I'm sure they're going to try to turn the program around here soon. First week they ended up playing Little Rock Christian. They didn't do well in that game, and then they ended up losing last week to Pine Bluff. They didn't do well in that game. So it's interesting to see what Coach Shelton does going forward with that program.
And one thing I'll say, when we say they didn't do well, they're a young team.
That's right.
Just like we are. They're young, and that's a tough schedule. Pine Bluff, we scrimmaged Pine Bluff. They're much improved.
Yes, they are.
Coach Michael Williams at Pine Bluff's done a good job. So Coach Shelton is an outstanding coach. He's going to do a good job, and they'll get that thing righted pretty soon. Just like we hope we get ours righted too.
Right. That's right.
The last game of the season, we traveled to Fort Smith. How's the Northside Grizzlies been doing?
Well, Northside Grizzlies, they won the Battle of Rogers Avenue. They beat Southside in week 1, and it wasn't even a close ball game. And then, in a shocking turn of events, they had Greenwood beat, had them down. I mean, they were up by 3 scores in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Greenwood puts in a freshman quarterback and comes storming back and ends up beating them. Right at the end of the game, scored the last touchdown with maybe 5-6 seconds on the clock. So Northside's probably reeling a little bit from that. Fayetteville losing week 1 to Cabot. And then turned around and beat North Little Rock last week in a big game. I think in this one, the team that controls their emotions early is going to win this one. If Northside kind of, if they can rebound from a last-second loss, and if Fayetteville can come down from a big emotional win over a North Little Rock team that beat them last year, then I would say the team that does that wins. My prediction, I'm going to go with the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are going to come in there and upset them. So,
well, having coached at Fayetteville, I've been to Mayo Thompson Stadium several times. We've never played well there. I mean, it's a tough place to play. So, I'm gonna withhold my prediction, but I think it's gonna be a great game. This week's top 10 rankings. We've got 3 teams still in the top 10. You've got the number 1 Bryan Hornets. Until you can't be the best until you beat the best, and they deserved that title and that ranking. Number 2 is Conway after the big win over Bentonville, and then Cabot comes in at number 4, which is huge. I think you'll see more teams as we get along in the top 10 from the Central. But as always, it's been a fun show today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been informational. Next week we'll come back and review the Heritage game, and we'll look ahead to the Hot Springs game. Thanks for being here. Go Gryphons.